everybody. I'd like you to introduce you to the one and only Miss Jess Martin. Miss Jess Martin,
Hello.
say hello.
Hello.
And where is lockdown for you?
I am lockdowning with my parents, so I haven't done that for about 15 years. Been here solidly for 9-10 weeks now, but it's great. I actually live in London, but because we were here before lockdown even started, we decided to stay. So we've been here 9 weeks, and it's been amazing because we've just had, luckily, lots of space to go and walk and spend time outside in this lovely weather we've had in the last 2 months. So
I think that's so true, isn't it? I think living in the countryside at the moment and this beautiful weather, I think it's been a big plus for lockdown and social distancing.
Yeah, our dog's hilarious. She has never looked so fit in her life. There's honestly, like, my parents are doing this amazing sort of running challenge. So they've been taking her out for 5K every morning, and then we'll take her out. But she'll come on a run with Alex, and then we decide to go on a 4 o'clock walk just because we can go on a 4 o'clock walk. So she's loving it as well. It's positive for dogs.
Yeah. Is she now saying, stop taking me out, I'm bored?
No, she's absolutely knackered.
Oh, amazing. So it's 10:15 and it's everybody's sort of tea break. What's your go-to tea of choice? Are you a flavoured tea or are you a standard builder's tea?
I'm a boring tea, so I'm not a big fan of builders. So I go for, you can't really see, I go for a lemon green tea. So It's not the boring green tea that tastes of grass. It's just got a little hint of lemon, but it's nice. And it lasts longer because it's too hot. So I can sort of sit here while I'm meant to be working and sip away. But it's very nice.
Oh, nice.
Do you like
in a lovely mug? Oh, yeah, I do. I love it. Chickens, your cousin will like that.
Yeah, exactly. Francesca will love the chickens if she's watching.
Which she will do. We'll make sure she does.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to share with everyone what you do as a job and sort of how everything has changed with COVID and how you're adapting to that?
Yeah, so I am assistant producer at Sky Sports Cricket, which is fab. It's so much fun. Like, you know, I've always loved cricket, but especially the last summer has just, like, there's just been a wave that we've been living on off the World Cup and obviously after the Ashes. So it's been an amazing few months, cricket-wise. Everyone's just absolutely loving it, which is fantastic. But strange job, I was discussing it with my brothers this morning because it hasn't been hugely affected now because it wasn't like a mid-season thing, cricket. You know, when COVID kicked off, it was December, January. So it wasn't the season here. Obviously, England had to stop their tour in Sri Lanka. But the difficulty now is sort of how you start. And there's been so many cancellations already. Like, we were meant to have this big 100 tournament this summer, and that's just, you know, been delayed because the whole big thing was participation. And if you're playing behind closed doors, starting competition that's, you know, meant to be drawing children and families in. So they decided to move it to next year. But we're just, it's a strange one not having any live sport because we've all actually been very, very busy at work. Obviously, we've all been at home. I haven't been into the office at Sky at Austerley since probably the 10th or 11th of March. So Sky was sort of straight on the sort of work from home thing, and we're luckily quite equipped with laptops and stuff. So we all have sort of editing software here. So we've basically been doing lots of editing of old games. So
which are probably some of the best games that we've ever had. So you've been able to look through them all again.
Yeah. So we started off with recent history. So we did the World Cup and England's route to the final. We showed some of the Ashes game. We showed Headingley, which is obviously one of the most incredible test matches. And then we've gone further back. So we've just finishing today was 2015 Trent Bridge Test Ashes, and we showed the 2005 Edgbaston Test, and it's been great because I've been like pre-warning my family, and they've gone, oh yeah, we'll record that. That's brilliant. Oh, I forgot that this happened. You know, it was 15 years ago, so it's been really good. So I've actually been, you know, of course we're not as busy as we normally would because we've been doing sort of county games now, and you know, been building up to the international season, which was meant to be in June. but actually we've been able to be quite busy because we've just been working through old stuff, and we've been doing lots of sort of vodcasts with, you know, we've got some great commentators and pundits who are still working full-time for Sky, so we've done some brilliant things with them, you know, literally similar to this, just chatting, and it still draws people in, which has been great. So we're very lucky.
And I think as well, people will, you know, they're looking for things that are uplifting right now, aren't they? There's so much negativity out there that, yes, it would be great to tune in if we know that Ben Stokes' headingley innings is going to happen again. Like, have you received lots of positive feedback about it?
Yeah, and also, like, we've done some things where we technically have been producing live content. So we've showed an old game, but we've had sort of Ben Stokes come on a Zoom call and chat about it live, and he goes, oh my god, I was so nervous when Nathan Lyon was running up for this ball, and da, da, da. So it's just really nice sort of, it's almost that behind the scenes stuff,
and it humanises those athletes, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you kind of can comment on what their sitting room looks like on their Zoom call and stuff, so yeah, but I think now that you know, no one really knows what's going to happen and whether we will get any Test cricket this summer, and if it does happen, it will obviously behind closed doors. But I don't know, I think the closer it gets to a point that we can, then I'm sure, you know, we'll start doing content that will get people into it again. But the thing is, I think people have missed it so much that they'll watch anything.
You know,
because I've never known so many people watching the Bundesliga just because it was a live sports match recently, and there's been a few golf things in America, haven't there, where like no one really watches golf, but actually they're watching this because it's live and it's exciting.
I definitely relived my 12-year-old youth and have watched all of the men's 2003 final with Johnny Wilkinson kicking the drop.
Was it his birthday recently? I think
it was. It might have been yesterday.
I think I do think people have really enjoyed watching old stuff, because actually you don't normally, unless you've got the DVD from, you know, a World Cup win or something, you don't really tend to rewatch stuff. So actually we've had such good feedback on Twitter and all social media platforms about, you know, oh my god, I forgot that this day happened, and actually it's not the famous day, but this day was just as exciting in this Test match and stuff. So it's actually been really nice seeing people's feedback, and
that they can share it.
I've actually been fairly busy.
And they can share it with their families again, and like that's what everyone needs during lockdown. It's that you can't see everyone, but to be able to share that and comment on it, and it's amazing. Love what you're doing. So thank you for that. So that's sort of what
I was going to quickly say, it's nice as well because most people do have a television, so it's almost, you know, we're lucky that we've had nice weather, but when it's been the evenings and stuff, it's sort of been one of the only things to do. It's sort of a bit of telly. I'm sure Netflix has flown through the roof and those sorts of subscription things, because it's, you know, it's been something for people to do. So Test match filling 5 days is brilliant because it takes up 5 days.
Exactly. Oh, good. Love that. I love that. So that's sort of the work side of lockdown for Jess Martin. And what how are you keeping yourself sort of mentally and physically sane and happy and positive during lockdown on the social side? So,
well, less on a social side, on a exercise side, my New Year's resolution was I've got to do 10,000 steps today, because sometimes you just do it, don't you, and you don't really know, and you're like, oh cool, I've done 10,000 or 11,000. And sometimes with my job, especially because you're sitting doing nothing for a lot of the time editing, you end up doing 1,000 steps in a day. So my New Year's resolution was actually to try and do 10,000 a day. So the lockdown the last 2 months has been fantastic because it's just an excuse to go out and walk around. So I've done loads of walking. My new thing is cycling. So I haven't really done much yet, but I borrowed my boyfriend's sister's bike. She's a new student, so she doesn't need it at the moment. And he's been trying to encourage me to...
Does she know this? Or
she doesn't know, so she'll find out. And yeah, so he's always been really into it. When we live in London, he cycles to work, and I've always just hated it. I've had a few bad experiences where it was really hilly and I just absolutely hated it. So I've tried to get into it. So we've done a couple of sort of 40k bike rides, which I absolutely love. So I think it's when you think I might have to invest in my own bike. I bought myself a helmet.
Join the biking club.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like that. It's just so fun to sort of see a bit of countryside in a different way and a bit quicker, and you can obviously go so much further. So that's been a really fun thing. Other than that, I've had lots of Zoom calls. There's probably been about 6 or 7 hen weekends that I was meant to go on, so they've been on Zoom calls and concocting various videos of me being stupid to celebrate their virtual hen. So there's been a lot of that, which has been great. Obviously not as fun as it should be. We should be in all these various places celebrating, but at least we can do something, which is nice.
No, I think I don't think I've ever been as grateful as I am for Zoom. I think 2020 is definitely the year of the virtual hen, and actually I'm finding Zoom is a great way to stay connected to those that you wouldn't necessarily see on a regular basis. I don't know if you found that as well.
Zoom before 2 months ago. Like I didn't.
Now it's in your daily dialogue.
No, so actually, it's such a good way because you feel like when you can see someone's face and you can actually interact with someone, it's just so much better. So I've kept busy and being active, and I suppose drinking lots of champagne helps. Or tea. Tea's better.
Yeah, it's 10:15, Jess, on a Wednesday. Yeah. Goodness.
Tea for the morning.
So what I'd like to do to finish is sort of if you've got have you been reading any books, podcasts, programs that you would recommend for lockdown life, as hopefully lockdown draws to an end, but are there any that you would recommend?
I always listen to podcasts anyway. When I used to go into work every day on my commute, I listen to a lot. I don't know whether you've heard of it. It's called Conversations of Inspiration. It's brilliant. It's this lady, Holly Tucker. So she founded Not on the High Street, and so she basically does these brilliant interviews with all these sort of what were startup companies, teeny tiny companies, and they, and now some of them are sort of innocent, Cook, all these now quite famous brands. It's just their story about how they started and the difficulties with a small company, and it's just absolutely fascinating because it just shows, someone like the innocent guys, three guys met at uni. I had no idea, and they decided one day that they all want to go into business together, didn't know what. Someone went, oh, actually, why don't we crush a bit of fruit? That's probably quite a good use of our time. And so they went to a festival, made some of their smoothies, had 2 bins saying yes or no, and the question above saying, should we start a smoothie company? And if you don't like this, put it in the no, and if you like it, in the yes. And the yes bin was much fuller than the no bin, so they started into. So it's just little things like that you just never know. And she's done so many brilliant chats, but she sort of also does a few, she did a really good one with Dame Kelly Holmes, and and they're all sort of 45 an hour, so they're a perfect time. You can finish them in a day, and I just think they're brilliant.
Oh, amazing. Really, really and from what you said about innocent, I think people often forget, it was an idea, it was just an idea at some stage. So to hear how it actually they develop the idea, particularly when everyone has got a lot of time on their hands and they've got all these ideas. Maybe this is the time to do it. Oh, I'm going to have a listen. Thank you.
It's so brilliant. And also it's interesting because you see these big companies now and think, oh, well, they must have had a really easy time. And actually there's so many difficult times. This is obviously going to be a really difficult time for companies at the moment, but there's so many previous, like the financial crash, or, there's so many things where like Innocent really, really struggled at a certain point, and now they're one of the biggest soft drink companies in the world. So I don't know, they're just a brilliant way of sort of explaining how to do it and sort of giving you tips. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Oh, thank you for that, Jess. The ever knowing knowledge that you have. And final question, who would you like to nominate to appear on the next Positivity series with their cup of tea in hand? Is there anyone that springs to mind that we can ask to come on?
Yes, my great friend Lucy Horsell, because I think she would be brilliant. She's so positive. She's one of the most positive, funny people I know. She loves a good cuppa. She's Yorkshire lass, so she'll probably have a cup of Yorkshire tea. And she's sort of done lots of stuff in business. And I just think she's absolutely fantastic and very positive and fun. So I think she'd be entertaining watch.
Amazing. And she's been keeping positive in lockdown as well, which is what this is all about.
Exactly.
Jess, thank you so much. Our first ever guest on Positivity.
Yay, I hope it was okay.
It's amazing.
I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.